your party has a lot of programs that they would like to introduce, obviously, that would need to be paid for. What's your idea about which new programs are most important and the way to pay for those programs? What kind of tax? What do you think?
I think the first thing you could do is not pay for them, which is apparently in vogue in Washington, D.C. on both sides of the aisle.
That's an ad hominem attack.
And that's a fair thing to say. That's a fair thing to say.
It's just gratuitous nastiness, the old Roman emperor. I mean,
well, I just have to point that out. I just have to point that out, Joe.
Okay, fine. But let's on the record. But what would you do to try to come? Let's come together, Heidi. Let's come together. Okay. Oh, you betcha. So what should we do?
Yeah. Let's separate Social Security from income taxes for a moment, because Social Security, there's a lot of discussion about raising the cap. In fact, there's a bipartisan proposal that donut holes the cap, stops it at a certain point and then picks it up when the firefighters, so the firefighters would continue to get a break, but over like 250, that's pretty popular, eliminating the cap to try and bring solvency to the Social Security system. And so that's a separate issue, I think, than the issue of what to do with income taxes. I think Andrew's done a great job on your program talking about all the ways the income tax structure, as we have it today, benefits the rich and how you can avoid taxation with stepped-up basis, how you can avoid it by simply transferring your wealth to a nonprofit. And so when you look at kind of the strategy, you could do a lot of things to equalize the income tax structure without all these kind of crazy ideas.
I'll ask you a question that actually Eric just asked me during the commercial break, and it's a very thoughtful and smart question, which is he said, look,
that's high praise.
The elites or the intellectuals or whatever you want to call them understand these issues: 1031 exchanges, carried interest, step-up basis on death, all of these things, and I can go on and on and on. But I think the argument you were making to me was that the larger populace, if you will, that doesn't really change move the needle for them, and whether that is right. So
yeah, I think it's so much easier to say 2 cents. We're going to charge you 2 cents, and that creates a whole nother infrastructure. Which, all the states used to have a personal property tax. They abandoned it for a lot of reasons, mostly enforcement, saying in many ways it's inequitable, but it also is an enforcement nightmare. To have a national personal property tax, I think, reintroduces a bad idea that the states got rid of years ago, and that many countries tried and have failed. And so let's talk about like trusting the people to understand that the tax code does have these loopholes and we can change it, but it's just not the soundbite that people want to say, oh yeah, we're going to get rid of like-kind exchanges and we're going to get rid of carried interest, and oh, by the way, we don't like stepped-up basis, and by that time, people's eyes glaze over. But it's important to understand that the real challenge here is not to kind of recreate a soundbite, but it's to make the system more equitable. And the question that I would ask back to all of you is, we have growing income and wealth disparity in this country. How do we fix that problem? And I know a lot of you guys will say, well, you just grow the income earning opportunities and shorten the number in the labor supply, and that will grow the income. So far, that hasn't worked very well. And so, as you were talking before, we do have a labor shortage, but yet we have not seen the kind of wage growth or business investment that would invest in that wage growth that may grow those big programs.
But Heidi, let me. Good morning, by the way.
Hey, good morning, Eric.
How do you do that? I mean, first of all, I think there's a discussion to be had about this disparity of wealth and income and whether it's cyclical, just like capitalism is cyclical. But what are the priorities in terms of spending? Because Elizabeth Warren has got a plan for everything, as we know. And clearly, I think it's coming out now that there's a price to be paid for a plan for everything. So what are the priorities? How would you spend that money if that's what you're advocating to close the gap?
Well, one of the things that I think is it's a long-term systemic challenge. We need to invest in early childhood education. We need to invest in keeping people healthier longer. We need to do the things that we should be doing on infrastructure, which hopefully will grow the economy and spread that wealth kind of consistently across all levels. But the real challenge that you have is that we're in a changing economy. We've gone from manufacturing. Yes, Mr. President, we are not going to be the manufacturing center that we were back in the 50s. We've transitioned to a service economy, but we haven't transitioned our education system to take advantage of those high-paying opportunities that are, much broader than simply sitting on the factory line and riveting, a rivet into an automobile.
Okay. Senator, have I highlighted anything effectively as you've been watching? Is it really just Andrew doing a good job? Or, do I ever do anything?
Oh, Joe,
good.
Joe,
Senator?
You're there for color commentary, aren't you? Not really substance.
I don't know. Real good. Okay, you betcha.
Okay.
All right. Where are you coming from us today, Heidi? Where are you? Up there?
I'm in the Bismarck.
Are you in the Bismarck? You're near Fargo.
I am.
Are you? Good. Real good. You betcha. Okay.